Hello everybody and welcome to Uproot Reddit. Artists have to take the time to pick the right brush or the right pencil to create stunning works of art. But how can they pick out the right tool when some crazy lady is staring them down? Reddit user Aries Webfoot is a local artist just trying to pick a specific brush when some stranger comes up to them and treats them like they work at the hobby store. In today's post, another one bites the dust, it's long, and it's my first rodeo. Honestly, how Aries Webfoot responds to the situation will shock you. Here's the full story. Quote, "A little backstory. I'm a painter. No, not a house painter, but someone who paints on canvases. I paint landscapes and only landscapes, and I've been doing it for a few years now. I get my paints from a hobby store that has just about everything, and it's a well-known local store that changed hands in the last couple of years. All spelling errors, formatting errors, and story errors are mine and mine alone, so forgive me. On the day this story is about, I was in my usual cargo shorts, which I wear year-round even when there's snow outside, tennis shoes, and a nice pull-over shirt. Think fancy t-shirt with a collar. Oh, and I'm like 60-ish. I hadn't had a haircut in months and also hadn't shaved in like a week, so I was rather scruffy looking. Think a clean homeless guy with clean clothes, and that is a big thing with my wife as she insists that I don't leave the house looking like I've lived in my clothes for a week. As you might guess, I'm a messy painter and I tend to get paint on my clothes, so I changed it to something clean and without any rips or tears before leaving the house. I was looking at some brushes on an end cap, that part of the shelves at each end of the aisles, when this woman clears her throat. Now, I get stuff in my throat and have a rattle sound when clearing, so my brain just filtered out the sound and I moved a little to one side and closer to the end cap in case I was in the way. Once again came that throaty sound like a frog choking on an oversized cricket while trying to sing. This time, I look at the source of that sound and find a woman, maybe 5'2", a little thick with a short fake blonde haircut. I think the ladies call it a bob? A cart with some plastic plant foam bricks in it and raised eyebrows. Now the uniform here is black pants and a store polo shirt of any number of colors. Oh, and each and every employee has a black apron on, except for management. It's a pretty good sized store and the only one of its kind for an hour or two in any direction, so the store monopolizes the region. Cheaper prices can be found in the big city, but that's almost 2 hours away, and by the time you've spent the gas to get there and back, you've not really saved a whole lot. Now that you know the backstory, the scene played out like this. Me is old gnome looking guy. CL is crazy lady, the assistant manager is Judy, and the manager is Katie. Is there something wrong with your throat? I asked a little concerned. No, there's nothing wrong with my throat. What's wrong with you, just standing there instead of helping paying customers? Ah, I said, instantly recognizing the Karen in the wild from the many tales I've heard over the years. You think that I work here? No, duh, I see you in here all the time. I know you work here. I'm in here because I buy things. Yeah, and the other day I saw that you got an employee discount, so I absolutely know you work here. So help me find my stuff. With a faint smile. Stuff? Oh, you need to go to the Stuff Mart. Okay, talk about throwing shade there. I nearly doubled over with laughter as her brow became a maze of lines as her two working brain cells spun crazily inside her cranium, trying to figure out Stuff Mart and whether there actually might be a place called Stuff Mart or if I was pulling her leg. Then she waved her hand through the air as if clearing it of smoke and said, "Never mind, you help me now." I looked down at my cargo shorts and then said, "Okay, for the sake of the argument, let's say I do work here. Obviously, I'm not wearing the proper uniform, so this must be my day off, and such that would mean I'm not working today. So tell me again, why would I help you if I'm not working today?" "Because you work here," she screeched and stomping her foot. "But don't even the peons get days off when they don't have to work?" Now with a really screeching voice, the crazy lady yells, "If you don't help me right this minute, I'm going to get you fired." Then came the mantra of all Karens, "Get me your manager." I could hear the clippity-clop of dress shoes clattering across the tiled floor at warp speed and knew help was soon to arrive. I reached over and picked up a paintbrush and said, "This is a paintbrush, you know. These fine bristles are all natural and can help bring your painting to life." The crazy lady looked at me with wide eyes and a mouth open and prepared for the early arrival of many flying insects should they happen to be landing, and this brought on a 2-foot stomp. "What? What are you babbling about? I want you to find my things," she shouted just as Judy and Katie rounded the corner of an aisle to see what all the shouting was about. "Oh, but where do you suppose they could be?" I feigned innocence. Judy spoke first. "What's going on here?" Before life on this earth could draw a single breath, the crazy lady let out a string of, "This stupid guy of a worker won't help me. He's been rude to me, he's attacked me with that paintbrush, and I want the manager and I want him fired for being too stupid to be working. They should have laws about people being too stupid to have jobs. I want my things found and I want them for free for dealing with such an incompetent imbecile. I know the owner and he will fire all of you if you do not help me." Judy looked back at me and then covered her mouth with her hand and turned her face to keep from laughing. Katie, who is in her 40s and looks to be in her 20s, suppressed a chuckle and walked right up to me. She ran her finger down my cheek and said, "You know, if you stay a little while, I might take you home with me. We could have a lot of fun, you and I." "What?" cried the crazy lady, whose face went beet red, and she took a step back from her cart while Judy ran off, doing her best to not laugh. That sounds like an employee discount I want to explore," I said, seeing the knowing look in Katie's eyes. "Oh my gosh, what is going on here?" The crazy lady screamed as though she was watching a murder being committed right in front of her. "Are you serious? You and you! I want someone to call the owner right now, right this minute. This kind of behavior will not be tolerated in this store. I will have you both fired right now." Katie and I are about the same height, and when Katie kissed my ear, the crazy lady just started hopping around like a mad rabbit, stomping both feet into the floor. The gal on the register and Judy came rushing to us, Judy with the store phone, and said she was calling the owner. The crazy lady grabbed the phone out of Judy's hand and was running in circles, waiting for the call to go through. Then Katie's phone rang and, "Don't go anywhere, you," she purred to me. Katie answered the phone while looking at the crazy lady dead in the eyes. "Yeah, I'm the manager and I'm the owner, and yeah, this is my husband, and you know what? I don't want your business. I don't want you in my store, I don't want to sell you anything, and I don't want your money. I do ban and I will ban anyone and everyone who is rude to one of my employees, and you are banned. You will leave or I will call the police and have you arrested for accosting my husband. Oh yeah, he gets an employee discount because I am the owner, and I can give that discount to anyone I choose." Oh, the crazy lady was having none of it. "Oh, this is ridiculous. You just called her cell phone. I want the owner, and I want the owner here now." Katie looked at Judy and asked, "Have you called them yet?" "Yeah," Judy said. "They're on their way." A minute went by with the crazy lady stomping on the ground when 2 of our local officers came around the end aisle. Both officers knew Katie and Judy as they often got stuff from their wives on the way home from their shift, and so they rushed the crazy lady just as she threw the phone at me, hitting me in the chest. Both of the police officers were of the family pack variety and stood well over 6 foot. They manhandled the crazy lady pretty easily and got handcuffs on her. One took her outside, and Katie told the other that she just wanted her trespassed, and knowing my wife, like everybody in town does, they didn't even ask me if I wanted to press charges. Katie was the boss, and what she says goes. I took Katie around the waist and said, "You can be quite the vixen when you want to be, can't you?" She looked at me with soft eyes and said, Nobody messes with my husband except me, and in my own store to boot. I guess next time we should think twice about messing with a customer because they could be related to the employee in some way, shape, or form. Here's a special note by Eris Webfoot, quote, Katie and I had been married since she was 20-something and I was 40-something. It wasn't love at first sight. It was just a gradual meeting of the minds and meeting of the hearts. We were neighbors and just saw each other often, and then we started having drinks at each other's houses until we finally kissed. It was that first kiss that got the snowball rolling down the hill, and a year later, we were married. Her family was not really happy with her marrying an older man, and they let us know it at every opportunity, so we moved to a different town in a faraway state. My family had thought I'd lost my mind, and it was a relief to be so far away from them too. I never married up to that point, and while it's hard to explain, after that first kiss, we just knew right then that we'd be one day married and began to plan for it. I'd save up quite a bit of money from my paintings, and we both worked, me at a forge and her in retail. I sold my house that left us with a nice little nest egg so that when the store went on in the market, Katie jumped at it, and she's been running that store for over a decade now. Her income was enough that I could quit the forge and paint full-time and be a house husband for our 2 kids who are now both out of high school. Our marriage now is stronger than it ever has been, and our oldest is planning her own wedding. My wife has a number of stories about Karens and Chads in the wild, and I might write up some of those in the future, if folks like this. You know, it's always good to know the local staff members of your favorite store. I mean, you never know how they'll manage to help you in your time of need, even if it's carrying on an awkward conversation just to turn certain people off. But, you know, not all people who mistake you for an employee are bad. Some are actually nice. They may just get you confused with someone else, like what Reddit user Prismatic Upheaval constantly experiences in today's post, Craftin' Time. When I was still in school, I had a part-time job in a small independent craft store in the town I was living in at the time. It was a close walk from the house I shared with roommates, and the store was very mom and pop-like. I did a combo of cashier and stocking shelves, teaching kids classes, and updating the very basic website they had, so I was very familiar with the kind of items they carried. The coincidental part was that our house phone number was almost identical to the store number. Ours ending with 7 and the store with 4. Easy to accidentally hit the wrong number dialing due to the position on the keypad. Even so, often, I'd get calls that went similar to this. Hello? Oh, is this store name? Well, no, that's actually at number. Oh, sorry. Coincidentally, I do work there. Anything I can help with? I'd answer their question about items in general and make suggestions for projects they were working on if they were looking for direction. If they needed a stock check or to book a class, I'd have them call back the store instead. Usually it was older ladies calling, so I was happy to chat for a few minutes. You know, gotta help out our fellow crafters. Agreed. Instead of yelling or bashing each other as artists, why not support each other in a healthier, less problematic way? I mean, you don't want to end up like the crazy lady in Eris Webfoot's story. But anyways, that's all the time we have for today. We'll be back for more artistic stories right here on Uproot Reddit. We'll see you next time, everybody.